Races are awesome. I think they're fantastic. So bringing it back was 100% based on fan feedback. Certainly some internal desire as well. It's always expensive because our frames are very different. Elves are thinner. You know, we're not really taking any shortcuts. Dwarves certainly shorter and broader. So you have to make a bunch of armors and stuff like that. But in my mind, it's money well spent.
Because we moved the date, we were able to bring it back. We basically just had the time necessary to bring it back. I think it's really important. We have a lot of players very passionate. I mean, Dwarven players are extremely passionate about their racial selection.
You don't anger the Dwarf fans. They're prepared to go to war. Race is more than just like, how do I look in Dragon Age? It's really the idea of, as an elf, you're an underdog, right? As a dwarf, if you're on the surface, you are by default, you are outcast from your own society. That's intriguing. And that's interesting. And it creates a scenario where we give ourselves so many more opportunities to react to that player's choice. And something that's super fundamental. The same thing as male or female, right? You don't need to go universal with it, but the 1 or 2 times or 4 or 5 times where someone reacts to the fact that you're an elf in a very specific and very poignant way, where you see content you otherwise wouldn't have, and where you can share with your friends and go, oh yeah, this happened. And they're mystified by that. It's gratifying as a designer. I think it's gratifying as a player. And I think it lets us color your experience from kind of the word go, right? Okay, I want to be this kind of character. And it goes well beyond statistics. We respect it in the story.
Really, the interesting opportunity here is because of the core tenet of the story is about the Inquisition. This is something that, while it is created in opposition to the church, it's created from a moment that is very driven by something the church is related to. So playing as a dwarf or playing as an elf is going to actually put you in an interesting situation where you're actually less trusted, less able to build that trust. In a lot of cases, people are just going to treat you as the Inquisitor and it won't make a huge difference. But in specific cases, it's going to make a huge impact. Like, obviously, if you play as an elf, there are elven factions. I mean, it lets you interact often with servants in a more positive way, because there's often, especially in Relay, often elves are in the servant class. So it actually gives you a different flavor. Definitely, in some cases, it is going to simply make things more difficult. But yeah, you're not going to be dumped on for the entire game.
The race that you choose will have an effect on kind of your background. What kind of character are you? As well, whether or not you're a mage will have a pretty significant effect, because mages are in a very special circumstance. And that, I think, will give some really cool mid-game reactivity, but the starting point is pretty unified. More and more, I think that it's fair and it's honest to try not to, I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. My goal would be that when we are comfortable talking about something, it's because it's in the game, it's working, it's been tried, it's been tested, we're really happy with it. For instance, the race decision, was made well before E3, but why didn't we bring it up? Well, because again, we wanted to make sure that it was locked down, we wanted to make sure we'd done the work and our homework was done so that we could commit to it, and people could, with absolute enthusiasm, get ready for elf or dwarf or whatever. Yeah.